What is racism?
Well, actually, the term really is more wrongful ethnicity bias because the fact is we're all one race, and that's the human race. That has to do more with species than anything else, the term race, but, and I say wrongful ethnicity bias because bias in and of itself is not wrong. We have biases and discriminations all the time, just differentiating, picking different things. But, the wrongful ethnic bias that is experienced that the left supposedly, that we supposedly have, according to them, is really a myth. It's really a myth.
Well, let's use the terminology the way people are using it so we
you
can talk.
You can.
So we can talk
And
because
that's exactly what I was going to say, but I want people to know that racism is not, that's not the word. But we'll just say, for lack of a better word, I was going to say that.
just so we'll know that we're talking about the same thing. What people are accusing other people of racism.
This whole thing, we want to start all over and just say that, we're not the party of it. All racism is not liking what someone else has to say, not liking what someone else wears, not liking that someone else has the gall and the tenacity, the nerve to think for themselves, and that's all real racism is. And you're seen as being that if you think for yourself, if you dress or wear a certain thing, if you happen to say and espouse certain views, and I just put that thing in the beginning at first just to let people know, by the way, that's not racism. It's wrongful ethnic bias. But for this, I wanted to use racism since that's the word. But know that racism, for lack of a better word, we're not the party of it. And all it is having a hatred for somebody else simply because you don't like something that they espouse or that they, that they wear or their viewpoints.
Well, I agree with you. What you're saying, that people use the accusation of racism as a sledgehammer to bludgeon other people, to attack them, to claim that they're immoral, and to intimidate them, is what you were saying, right?
Exactly.
I agree with all that, but I would like to, for the viewer's sake, get to the essence of what we're talking about when we're talking about racism. So let me ask you some specific questions and see what you think. If you conclude that someone has bad character because of their race, would that be what they call racism?
Now that technically would be it, but
Well, it would be one example, right?
it would be one
And,
example.
and another would be if you won't let someone into your club or your organization because of their race, we would call that person a racist, right?
And, yeah, you would say, yeah, that's not cool, that's not right. But me personally, I'm not going to pick it and throw a hissy fit
Right.
because somebody doesn't want me,
Neither am
part
I.
of their club. If they don't want me there, then fine. That's on them,
I
But
agree. I agree.
That is technically the definition of it.
And they have a right not to have you in your
If
club.
it's a privately
But
funded thing, then sure.
Right.
But it's unfortunately the word has lost meaning. And you ask what is racism? Honestly, it's dead, or it was dead until Obama brought it back up again.
Right.
We once had unity in amongst both parties. You even had
well, you're looking for solutions, which I think is great. But before we get to the solutions, I want to have clarity as to what the hell were these people are talking about.
that's
And
just
so,
it. There's really no clarity. That's really why it's such a difficult thing to kind of answer.
Well,
Because everything under the sun now is racist.
well, I'm going to suggest, based on those two examples, a definition that I think I use. If you use race as a factor to evaluate another person's character or their skills, then that's racism.
I mean,
I mean, you should, in other words, you should focus on a person's actions, on what they do, on their actual character, like Martin Luther King said, right? The character, not the color of their skin, but their character. And so, I think it's a mistake, but I agree with you. It's not like to get all upset and this and that. It's just that you are not focusing on what you should. You should focus on a person's actions. If they are a good person, who cares about their race? If they are skilled and they are eloquent like you are in your speaking skills, Well, then you're eloquent in your speaking skills. It doesn't matter what race you are is irrelevant. That's my point.
That's what we've been trying to say from the beginning in the Republican Party. The point I'm making is that race really doesn't exist anymore, at least not the way
Well,
it's
people
being
have
espoused.
different colors of skin,
Yeah, well,
but
yeah.
but they are irrelevant for all of these
For all intents